Today we're going to talk about the difference. And when we look at dealerships, it's understood we face a lot of competition from independent repair facilities. Most of us perform price comparisons, and we have a desire to be in the neighborhood or less expensive than what they charge their customers for a service. For example, if an oil change they're doing for $29.95, then we feel we have to do that oil change for the same pricing. Let's look at some things that cause the difference. Because if price was the only factor, we would have the only restaurant being McDonald's. And anyone who's visited a Morton steakhouse for dinner understands there's a distinct difference. Morton has a wonderful customer experience, and my goodness, it costs a lot more than that $1 cheeseburger off the extra value meal at McDonald's. But no one would question the difference in the quality and the experience. Well, dealerships today have that distinct difference also. It's time we turn our culture into dealership, into developing what makes the dealership different. And this needs to be a part of our customers' knowledge that they carry. Our culture has to be shifted. For example, parts, I know the typical quick lube uses the lowest quality oil filters and parts available in the market today. And believe me, I study the differences, and I can assure you that it's vast. If you cut apart typical oil filter that you find at the quick lube, and by the way, they cost under $1. There's no bypass structure, no metal housing in there. It's basically cardboard wrapped around with a piece of string. Normally they're imported from China, but these low-cost filters for under $1, they're missing components. You look at, take apart and, for an example, AC Delco oil spin-on filter, and you see a metal housing encased in there and a bypass structure with a spring-type apparatus. And if the filter element would get clogged, then it would bypass the oil flow and not damage the motor. These types of differences are unknown by the customer. I remember when you crunch the numbers of these types of operations and you evaluate the difference in cost from, say, 92 cents, and it might be $4 or $5 for the factory original filter. Now you might look at that and say, the customer knows that. They come to the dealership because they want the factory part. But if you get right down to the core of it, how many times does that customer ask are you using the factory original part? I recall a long time ago I saw an AC Delco did this wonderful display, and they actually showed the different quality filters cut apart. So they had an AC Delco oil filter cut in half, and they had a competitor oil filter cut in half, the low-cost economy filter cut in half. I don't know if those displays are still made or not, but it illustrated what the difference is. I believe you can look at the air filters and go, oh my gosh, there's a lot more paper element and the better quality. They're designed for obviously not only price but for functionality. They're designed to meet the original equipment performance requirements. Our customers don't know this. Yet we try to keep in the same price because that's normally what dealership is focused in on. I say we need to develop this, make it your best practice, that your advisors are informing the customers on what is the difference. Recently, I have seen some displays involving sections of brake rotor. I took some time and I looked at these different sections of brake rotors, and I was impressed with the difference, the distinct difference in quality. The low-cost aftermarket rotor, the thickness of the material and the design of it, compared to the aftermarket, which was obviously a better choice. I learned something new in that because I actually thought there was no difference between a low-cost aftermarket and factory original till I saw these sections. We need to make that understood, the difference in parts. Next thing I want to chat about here is experience. You see, the experience your customer has at a quick lube facility, such as Walmart, might include an interior vacuum while they shop around your store. If you look at the dealership, if yours is in this, by golly, change it. But if your dealership has old magazines, stale coffee, with torn up chairs, you might be outdone by Walmart. We must focus in and pay attention to the experience we're providing our customers. I've had times, and believe me, with the amount of traveling I do, I have times where I've gone into restrooms and dealerships that were just filthy, or they had no hand soap available. The hand soap dispenser was empty. Or you'd wash your hands to find out there are no towels to dry them. Invest in providing free snacks while they wait with current magazines. If you don't have one, develop a kids zone to maximize the experience for young mothers. Consider implementing a free car wash when they visit your service department as a way to illustrate the difference. Now, I personally, even if you don't wash every car, I personally recommend that your advisors have that in discretion, that they can go to a customer and say, I notice we're walking around your car here. I notice it's filthy. I'm going to upgrade your visit today to include a free car wash. Now, the word upgrade is an instant home run. It means you don't have to do it every time, every car. I do find that that's a wonderful service to provide. But even if you don't, I'm going to upgrade your visit to include it. It will illustrate the difference to your customers. And then your team. Always invest in your team, providing a level of professionalism your clients will only experience at your dealership. This stuff isn't automatic. You can't hand an advisor a pen and say, there's your terminal, you're now an advisor with no training, and expect anything but poor performance. Be creative and open in new ways to involve your team in customer care. Develop the talents you have. Formulate a culture that will retain your customers for life. Your staff will always be a great source of ideas and wisdom. Talk to them about it. Include them in the decisions of what you want to do as a team to improve what makes your dealership different. And when you're being creative, don't look at the snacks in your waiting area as an expense. Don't let yourself be talked out of providing something for the customer because, my goodness, you might have a salesperson eat that donut. Or you might have a salesperson come back and grab a free cup of coffee. Maybe you will. But don't let that be an excuse or a reason to reduce the experience for your customer. It's the only reason we're here. What makes your dealership different? Thank you for your time, and I hope you have an incredible day. I'll talk to you next week.
Nice job, Rob.
Have some exciting news for you. We just announced September 15 and 16 here in Cleveland, Ohio. We're going to have our next Service Manager Training School. It's 2 days out of the dealership where we can totally focus in on putting an action plan together and understanding your dealership's performance. You want to take your service management skills to the next level. We'll see you there. Cleveland, Ohio, September 15 and 16.